Welcome to this tutorial. Today I will solve problem of the day, that is Pascal's triangle, and it is easy question, and this question is related to dynamic programming and array. So let's start. So problem statement is given an integer, that is num rows, and we have to return the first num rows of Pascal's triangle. So from example also you can see the question provide an integer, that is called as num rows, and we have to return first num rows of Pascal's triangle. So here num rows equal to 5, that means we have to return first 5 rows of Pascal's triangle. So what is Pascal's triangle? This is the Pascal's triangle where left and right boundary of triangle has ones. Okay, all elements in the left and right boundary are 1, and other elements are sum of two elements from the previous row. Okay, so you can visualize with the help of this diagram also. This element is sum of previous two element sum. So the this element is nothing but sum of two elements from the previous row. To understand it more better, let's move to the slide. So we know what is Pascal's triangle. So a triangular array of binomial coefficients where each row builds upon the value from the previous one. And this is the given example. So if I convert the given Pascal triangle into 2D matrix and let me assign index. So you can see we have 5 rows from 0 to 4, and we know each row contain how many columns. So if this is our I, we know for 0th row we have I plus 1 column. Okay, for I equal to 1 we have 2 columns, I plus 1 column. For second row we have 3 column. For third index we have 4 column. For 4 we have 5 column. So now we know how many rows we have, and for each row how many columns exist in our 2D matrix. Now what to fill in this 2D matrix? We know if element is first or last, then we have to fill 1. Otherwise, if our element is not first nor last, we have to put summation of two values. So if you see, this 2 is nothing but summation of this diagonal and this top value. Here also this 3 is summation of this diagonal and this top value. Here also this diagonal and this top value from the previous row. Same for this 4 is nothing but summation of 1 and 3. 6 is also summation of 3 and 3. 4 is 3 plus 1. And last element and first element always 1. So let's move to the code, and you can see here we have to return 2D array list. So firstly I define 2D array list, name as answer. And at last, we are returning answer. Now, simply we know we have number of rows. How many? 0 to 4. That means if n equal to 5, we have rows 0 to num rows minus 1. So this loop runs for rows and this loop runs for columns. And we know for each row we have I plus 1 columns. That's why it starts from 0 to equal to I. And for each column here I am checking if my element is first or my element is last because it ends at I. So that means if j equal to I, this is last element. So if our element is 0 first or last element, we just need to add 1. Otherwise, we have to calculate value from the previous row. So this is our diagonal element from the previous row and this is top element from the previous row. And after completing this column, we have to add into 2D matrix. Similarly, it runs for each row and at last we just need to return our 2D matrix. So let's see the time complexity and space complexity. So here you can see time complexity is big O of num rows square and space complexity is also num rows square. That means big O of n square if n equal to num rows. So why? Because time complexity is n square because for each I row, because for each row we compute I plus 1 elements. Suppose I equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. So for 0th row we have one element, okay, one column. For 1th we have two columns, means two elements. Similarly, for second index row we saw we have three columns, means three elements. So similarly it goes till n. That's why this is n into n plus 1 by 2, that is quadratic n square. Similarly, space complexity because we are storing all elements of Pascal's triangle up to num rows and we know each row has I plus 1 elements and total elements are n into n plus 1 by 2. So that's all about this tutorial. We will meet in the next video. Have a nice day.